Hi there, I'm Mrs. McTaggart, and in this video we're going to be talking about the area of a circle this time. So you should already hopefully have seen how to find the circumference of a circle and be really familiar with the difference between radius and diameter by now. So I just wanted to show you on a calculator what button you need to be able to use today. So we need to be able to use that x squared button. If you don't have a scientific calculator, there is a way around it, but you should hopefully have a scientific calculator by now if you're doing this lesson. If not, remember you can always download the app, a free app called NCalcFX, and that looks exactly like a scientific calculator, but on your phone, and it's so much nicer, and it'll have an x squared button as well. So that's what we're using today, okay? So the area of a circle is A equals pi r squared. If you want to have a proof for that, there's some fabulous ones. You can go look up on YouTube. I just don't have the capability of showing you it here just now. So as I said, the formula is A equals pi r squared, but you could always use pi times r. So instead of doing pi times 3 squared, you could do pi times 3 times 3. That's a more basic version of doing it, but I think if you've got a scientific calculator, we should be using that x squared button, okay? So our formula today needs the radius, so that is the shorter length, the one from the middle to the outside, and that's what we need to be 100% sure of before we do our calculations. Circumference needed the D, area needs the R, and you need to try and remember the two different formulas. And what I like about this one is the way I teach it says, well, at area, you always write cm squared at the end, don't you? Or square centimetres, if I say it properly. So you always put a wee squared at the end of your units. So area is a formula with a squared in it. And I remember in my last video, I told you there was a song where a man sings about circumference is pi times diameter, but then he goes, and area is pi r squared. So please feel free to go Google the circumference of a circle song, and that will give you the area in it as well. It's really quite cheesy. So anyway, let's get into some examples. So here is my circle. It's a mirror. I want to find the area of the mirror section of the circle. So the first thing we do is we write out a formula. Area equals pi r squared. Now 22 is the distance from the centre to outside, so we are using the 22. So it's 3.14 times 22 squared. So remember when you're typing this into your calculator, you're doing 3.14 times 22, and then you hit that x squared button and a little tool appear above the 22 on your calculator. And then that gives you an answer of 1519.76 centimetres and a wee squared. So the area of that would be 1519.76 square centimetres. And that is your answer. And I'm going to leave everything to 2 decimal places again today. Question 2, we have another circle. So you might recognise this. This is like a fancy patio area. And when you buy the patio, it tells you the diameter of it and it gives you the cost per area. So the diameter of this part of patio is 1.8. So our radius is going to be half of that, which is 0.9. Now, the question hasn't specified, do you want the area in metres or centimetres? And I know the temptation might be there to say, oh, well, the radius is 90 centimetres. But unless there's no mention of changing it, keep it in the units of the question, okay? So I'm going to keep my radius as 0.9 instead of 90 centimetres. So my area is pi r squared. Pi changes to 3.14. My radius is 0.9, so I'm doing 0.9 squared. So you're doing 3.14 times 0.9, hit your x squared button, and then equals. Now this one gives you a longer number. It gives us 2.5434. Now I want all my numbers to 2 decimal places, so I would be cutting it off there, making it 2.5434. So I can just rub that out. But at the end, as always, because I have rounded, I'm going to write that that's 2.54 metres squared and that I've done it to 2 decimal places because obviously it's not the exact answer. So there's not much they can ask you for area of a circle. They can either give you it with the radius or the diameter. So I thought 2 examples was enough. Then I find that they start to do these style of questions where we want the shaded area. So we want the blue bit. Now this circle is sat exactly inside a square. It doesn't tell you it's a square, but if basically your diameter that way is 36, your diameter that way is 36, that makes a square, right? 2 sides the same is a square. So we have to find basically what is the blue bit here. Now the blue bit doesn't have a mathematical name for it. It isn't a shape. But what has happened here is I had a blue square, okay? So we had a blue square. And we had a white circle, and it's as if the white circle has been cut out of the blue square. So the white circle has been removed. So my method here is going to be the area of the square, subtract the area of the circle. So the square, first of all, is 36 times 36, or 36 squared if you want to do that. And that gives you 1296. So that is the area of the square. The circle is pi r squared. So that is 3.14 times, now 36 is my diameter, I want the radius. So the radius is half of 36, which is 18. So it's 3.14 times 18 squared, which is 1017.36. All right, and then the shaded area, so the blue area that we're after, is the square take away the circle. And I'm just doing that for short instead of having to write out the two numbers. So if I subtract the two of them, the square take away the circle leaves me with an area of 278.64 square centimetres. So that is what the blue shaded area is, okay? Question 4, this is a trickier question, okay? So we always assume we teach circumference and then area. So if you've not been taught circumference, then, well, we can't really do this question. But we're told the circumference of the plate. So the distance around the outside of the plate is 56.52. We want to find the area. So let's think, well, area is pi r squared. We know pi. What do we need? We need the radius of that circle. Now, we don't have the radius of the circle, but we do have the circumference. Now, circumference, the formula for circumference was c equals pi d. So to get the diameter, remember we already hopefully have done this lesson, the diameter was the circumference divided by pi. Now if you know your diameter, you know your radius, it's just half of it. So in this case, our diameter will be 56.52 divided by 3.14. Now that gives us a diameter of 18. Now if your diameter is 18, the radius is half of that, so my radius is 9. So I can now find the area. It's 3.14 times 9 squared. And if you type that in, you get 254.34 square centimetres. So this is what's called a problem-solving question. This would be an exam style or a test one. Here are the questions that I would do for this one. So I have got nice straightforward ones for the top half. 4 where you've been given the radius, 4 where you've been given the diameter, and then I have got 4 of the trickier ones. So 2 where it's a circle inside a square, and 2 where I've given you the circumference. And I apologise, 2 of them don't quite look like circles. They've turned out a wee bit oval shape when I have edited this document. So again, pause, try these, and then the answers will appear on the next slide. And there's your answers. Hopefully you got on okay. So thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.